Welcome back to Crown's Crypto Cave. Wishing you a happy and healthy start to this lovely little Thursday morning over here. It's nice and bright and sunny, a little bit too hot for myself, so I got the front door open. No, not the front door, but back door. And there's plenty to talk about today in the short and medium term time frames for Bitcoin. A little bit of concern or cause for concern, and perhaps even a resolution on that concern. And then more importantly, a big focus on Mr. Ethereum today. Mr. Beaterall once again. Anyways, with that said, let's get into the CrownChain application, which can be found at app.crownchain.net. The link's in the description below. It is 100% free, just like the Discord as well, if you can figure out how to get in there. More importantly, as I do see like all of the list of people who join the Discord server and then they don't realize that they need to respond to the alt identifier bot within 10 minutes and they get kicked out and they come back in. It's actually pretty funny, but hey, there is a video on that. It's a channel video for this channel, which means that if you just go to the channel homepage, it's one that automatically plays. And with that said, let's get into the CrownChain application now. And what do we see? We do see Bitcoin dominance taking another leg down below about 49%. So we are getting really close to that area that we spoke about yesterday on the Bitcoin dominance chart, I'm going to guess, but perhaps just an ever so slight amount more needed in order to fill that region, as I forget exactly where it was. I'm inclined to say it's about 48.5. Anyways, fear and greed index also coming down 5 points from yesterday to today, from a 57 to a 52. So you know that we're dumping hard. No, it's more or less neutral right now, which is more or less good for the long term on Bitcoin, as we have seen more or less a complete catapult of this from the last few days, more importantly from about 27 to 52 right now, and just more or less holding the median of the range so far. So market is neither greedy nor fearful. It is about where it should be, especially in a sideways consolidation. And what do we see as far as the open interest goes? Did come down a little bit from yesterday to today as well, about 100 million it looks like, but still not really breaking the range either which way. I'm still looking for something really simple right here. And in fact, if you just want like a general easy rule on this next sort of move on the greater range for Bitcoin specifically, what I want to see is I want to see a break of the high term time frame range. That's going to be either 6,000 to the upside versus $48,000 to the downside, plus open interest shooting up. That would be very indicative that Bitcoin is going to enter into the next sort of trending move, so to speak, of which I still do have a bit more, we'll get into it once we get into the price action charts. Top 10 best coins, top 10 worst coins. We got Phantom, Dogecoin, Pancake Swap, Icon, Uniswap, Polygon, Theta Field, Decentraland, Engine Coin, and Sushi Swap. All the swaps, all the food coins, and Dogecoin as well, going to the moon right there. Actually, not anything too crazy, to be fair. Really only 3 of them in double-digit gainers, which is actually a really funny thing to say, that it's like, this is not very impressive. They're not double digits, so there's only 3 that are double digits. Yeah, this market's crazy. Yeah, this market is crypto, and that's why we love it. Anyways, on the top 10 worst coins, what do we see? We do see Thorchain, Cosmos, Siocoin's been getting beat up like for a week straight now. DigiFi on the losers list. Waves, Harmony, The Graph, IOST, Verge, and Nano. Nano, not my fucking nanos. God damn it. Down another 6%. Those bastards are manipulating my nanos for their greedy pleasures. Anyways, over here on the market data tab, what else can we see, or what else can we suss out right now? We do see that the funny rate again has gone for a full-on reset. We can track this going back the last 3-4 months here, and it has been on a nice downtrend, now really finding its way around what is pretty much inconsequential, and I refer to as parity at about 0.01%. That is pretty much the going rate. That is what you can expect when very little is going on. So we don't really get a major bias from this, except we do see OKX with a slight negative rate. I'd say this would put a little bit of the odds in the Bulaw's court here, just because you're not really paying any exorbitant fees in order to hold these long positions, or at the very least, I would be looking at this as a neutral thing, because Bitcoin, when we do see the funding rates get up, especially when it is kind of more or less ranging, that would be more indicative that we are going to come back down and retest the bottom side of the range more immediately. But for right now, we still don't even have that. So I'm not really seeing anything too obvious from these metrics. They are just going down and continuing with the trend that we have been seeing for the last few months here. Anyways, what else can we see as far as open interest goes? Okay, yep, just kind of flattening out right there. But as you can see on the line chart, we do have our first sort of etchings of weakness on Bitcoin. So we'll get into that once we get to Bitcoin. But I think we'll start it off today with Ethereum. But we certainly will come back here. I think it's just easier to see on a line chart when you're talking about highs and lows in this case. So with that in mind, or is there anything else that I want to talk about? Oh yeah, Liquidity Zone got a new issue coming to their market outlook for traditional markets. Of course, if you are interested in that, check out their channel, as they do have free live streams every day, and then they also have their newsletter. Again, going specifically over traditional markets, and it's maybe even in the works that at some point we might even have our own newsletter for the crypto sector as well. But that remains to be seen. Anyways, let's go over into the price action charts. We'll start it off with Ethereum today. We'll definitely get to Bitcoin, but I do want to do a little bit of a deep dive into Ethereum right now. So we did get the closure. We got our second closure, I should say, above the topside shoulder band. For Mr. Buterol here. This is going to be in a follow-through fashion with, of course, the SMI, which is once again cresting the upside as of yesterday, fully confirmed, I guess, on the last closure. Daily MACD, same thing, alongside a break above the topside shoulder band, and we even do see DMI Plus following through with that. And I imagine that's going to be consistent on the 2-day as well. Indeed, it very much is, both with the DMI ADX and also the SMI over here. In the 3-day, same thing as well. In fact, the 3-day DMI signal is pretty much in its infancy. I actually do like this right here with the ADX really lifting off and the DMI Plus bouncing off of the threshold and having a positive slope alongside MACD histogram also increasing here too. Now, are we closing this one today or did we just close it? We just closed it, it looked like. Yeah. Because this one does get its next new dildo on May 1st, and that is going to be Saturday. Okay, so I think this actually closed yesterday, but either which way, we do see this one closing above the topside shoulder band as well. I do still retain the bias of further tries north here, somewhere around about 2800-ish region. I still do look at as a bit of a basing region. Let's see if we did hit that yesterday. Pretty fucking close, 2756 or 2760 and a half high here on what exchange is Finex, I believe it is. Yeah. And that is very, 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 very close to our next target. I do think it probably has a little small move. Well, actually, if we do take this on a closing basis, we actually already did hit it, to be fair. Very interesting right there. But the next one would be about 2850-ish region. This two spot 414 and the 2 spot 272 is like a classic play, as it does kind of range between them two. But I'm still looking at this area right here as like a greater narrative for this. And yes, that would be about $100 higher than our high last night. And I'd be looking for a little bit of a more medium-term pullback from that region in comparison to this, what I would imagine is just going to be a short-term pullback right here. And what do you know? The 2 spot 272, the topside shoulder band is coming in right in line with that, so I do like that. And we can obviously forecast this using Caretaker's new shoulder band tool, by the way, which we spoke about yesterday, and you can find for yourself just by typing in, I believe it is CTBB. There you go. Anyways, let's take off our drawing tools right here. It's a little bit easier to see in this fashion. And what do we have right now? We have a little bit of a backfill going on. Could come down a slight amount lower, like 2665 region. We got pretty damn close there, 2679 region. Overall, though, I retain the bullish bias on this one. Technically speaking, if we do come below yesterday's low, that would be very concerning and imply a move back down to the 20 simple in this case, which would be about another $200 lower. Again, always have to have conditions on the other side for changing around biases, but in this case, I do more or less favor this one, and I would still be looking for general continuation here. Nothing really bearish in my opinion about the weekly. In fact, the weekly is going to have a chance to close above the topside Toronto band by end of this week, which will be situated right around 27, just under 2700 it looks like. Yeah, so overall, I do look at this once again as very much indicative of long-term continuation, and I really don't have a reason to be looking for like a major macro top on Ethereum specifically and the greater altcoin market for the most part. Anyways, looking at momentum oscillators over here, you can see that it's mostly follow through as well. SMI is turning up once again and increasing on the momentum. Same thing on MACD histogram, same thing on DMI ADX. So all of this does suggest more continuation here. We can also check out the monthly as well, seeing as we are coming into the end of the month in just a couple trading days, including today, that is. And, well, nothing fucking bearish about that, I'll put it that way, especially if it closes like this. Now, of course, Elsa's turned into a pink bear. What is going on over here? Anyways, looking at this right here, I do look for, assuming that it closes anything like this, anywhere above 2600-ish region, I'm going to look for May to print new all-time highs once again, and I'd still be keeping the long-term targets of about 3400-ish region in mind, and move from there. Now, I do like to take these one thing at a time, but we can kind of, we can kind of look at areas of interest to the upside. It's going to be a lot of the obvious ones, to be fair. But, well, should I get in that? No, fuck that. We're not going to do that. And let's go check out Ethereum on the low-term timeframes over here to see how it's shaping up right here, right now. Again, with the overall understanding of the higher term timeframes. Anyways, looking at the 4-hour right here, I still like 4-hour RSI. This might be a little bit confusing in this current stair-stepping fashion right here, but I look at this as strong. 4-hour RSI does kind of tell the story on this one, as it does consolidate right at the edge of the bullish control zone, and we don't see any sort of divergences, nothing like that. I look at this as more or less good, and we do see that 4-hour TSI is following through as well. 4-hour Joule is not people will look at this as like a sell signal. No, it's not. It's a warning signal, but that is in no way, shape, or form a sell signal as it is right now. In fact, that is still in a more bullish posturing than anything. But let's check out how the other lower term timeframes are doing here. Let's see if the 3 hour has any sort of potential divergences to be aware of. No, it does not, in fact. So looking good on that metric as well. Bi-hourly is doing about the same thing. And hourly is, do we see anything on the other side? We do not see anything on the other side, but it does look like we do have a little bit of extremely short-term downside. I mean, like I said, it could very easily come back down to about 2650-ish region, but ultimately I am still looking for continuation on this drive. 12-hour and daily are a backfill, as we already identified on the daily. 12-hour, same thing. 12-hour momentum oscillators also pointed northwards as well. I'm curious if we have any sort of divergences to be aware of on the daily. Obviously, this one's still playing out. The hidden bullish divergence that we saw on that last low at about 2250. Still somewhat active, I suppose. And 2-day continuation, 3-day continuation. In fact, the 3-day actually did confirm hidden bullish divergence on the last closure. Did miss this one coming in from yesterday. But ultimately, it's all the same thing anyway. So it's good to kind of check around all the different time frames. But in this case right here, yeah, I'm looking for new all-time highs. Still, once again, probably over the next few days. Still with about 2850-ish region in mind. A little bit of a short-term, medium-term pullback from that region, and then likely a move up probably past $3,000 into May, but that's a little bit further away. Anyways, let's get on to Bitcoin now and talk about the old death cross over here. So we identified this one yesterday. Actually, it was Mr. Colin McCann who was actually calling this one out in the Discord, and he wanted me to take a look at it. And you know what? Now that we've actually had a couple days here to kind of let it bake for a second, we do see that the 55 and the 200 are starting to diverge. So if you are looking at this as potentially playable, I mean, technically speaking, it is still meeting that criteria. My criteria was essentially as long as it's maintaining closure above the 200 exponential average right there, or remaining below the last higher wick on this. Obviously, that was going to be wrong, but that is why using wicks is more aggressive and typically what I don't like to do. But as you can see, this did actually bounce up. This actually did make a move up to test around our blue box. Hey, where the fuck's my goddamn blue box? Those bastards deleted my blue box. Let's go over here and we can figure it out from this perspective. As I believe I already have it charted out. That is, hey, what the fuck? Oh no, it's on this chart right here. There we go. There it is. Lovely blue box. And yes, hitting up right into the lower echelon of that blue box territory, also in line with the 20 simple as well. So far rejection, and it is relatively concerning that we do have a negative slope on the 20 simple as is. So I do look at this as the first real tangible weakness that we have seen on Bitcoin after putting in its first lower low for the first time since really, I mean, you could even say coronavirus sometimes. I would argue September, but that doesn't, it's not really of the same variety, to be fair, especially seeing as this happened on both the 2-day, 3-day, and I think even 5-day as well. So looking at this right now, if this really does start to come back down and especially close below yesterday's low, which is just below $54,000, I'd be looking at this as, or you could even use the 55 on this case. It's going to be about 54,400-ish region. If we do close below that region today on the daily, which is again 19 hours, 26 minutes, and 25 seconds away, so it's quite some time away. To be fair, a lot of hours left in the trading day. Then I would be looking at this as a tangible signal of a potential lower high, and I would be looking for a drive down somewhere right around $50,000, probably short-term bounces along the way, but ultimately I would be looking for this to come back down to the $45,000 to $45,000 low that we saw in late February of this year. So with all of that said, this is a bit concerning, and this is like the first time where we've really seen a tangible signal of a little bit of weakness here. Still needs to be fully confirmed, at least for myself, but if you do want to use a lower term time frame, I do think that it could be appropriate here on a 2-hour or 4-hour, just below the current range, or just below the current range low right here, which is about 54 even on Mexico. And if we go to regular spot price action, what would it be? Actually, let's go to our BitMEX charts right here. Yeah, I'd be looking at this blue box territory as a bit of a bit of a bias buster. For this one as well, and we actually even see the 55 and the 21 starting to kiss each other right here too. So I would be looking for the break of this region as actually indicative of a move both ways. And in this case, we actually can move down this area right here. Not to say that this one that it currently is irrelevant. No, it's not. Obviously got the high of yesterday's little one-off pump so far. But what I'd actually be more interested in looking at right now is looking at this range. We could even get rid of this blue box right here too, and kind of tidy up these charts a little bit bit more and do something more like this, because this is your nice little short-term time frame range. And I would be looking for the break of this range to produce, the next sort of medium-term move. In this case, to the downside, I'm looking at a move towards 51,250. Very likely a bounce there. Continuation implied back down here. To the upside, a couple ways to do this. I can say once again, if you take out the top side wick of this, I'd be looking for a continuation to like 57.5 to 58,000 bucks. Again, closure is always going to, be a little bit more, verifiable, and that's personally what I typically wait for in these cases. Although, like I said, for the last few days, I would not trade this range anyways. I'm not interested in trading Bitcoin right now. I'm looking at long-term strategies, and I'm basically treating whatever move transpires from this as a long-term opportunity, basically above 60,000 bucks. I'm happy to be bullish. Yes, I'll miss out on a few $1,000 of potential profit right around here by not being in position for a long-term. Fair enough. That's my risk as a trader. I'm completely fine with that. And by the same token, to the downside, I'm actually not even really looking to short Bitcoin. I'm more or less looking to just to play one of those macro areas, whether it be 45,000 bucks or 39,000 bucks. I'm looking at that for a potentially long-term trade as well. Anyways, this is not financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm a financial derper. I'm a financial derper as well. Yes, looking at this right here, I do see a few concerning things on Bitcoin. However, momentum oscillators are in more bearish posturing for what it's worth right now. We do got some of that bearish divergence on the 4-hour right here. It's not anything too crazy, and admittedly, it is only 2 drives on, contrary to the macro trend, which I typically don't like, but that is going to be combined very likely with the 4-hour TSI across to the downside. Now, admittedly, this is in the bullish bias zone, so this is not, that concerning. It's not until I get back below the zero read right here where I go, okay, all right, this is nasty. But at least for right now, we do see a couple things lining up. And if we go over here to our secondary charts, let's see if we have anything to be aware of right now as well. 4-hour MACD crossing to the downside freshly, and we do see 4-hour SMI is very likely to actually print a little or have a bearish cross here. Now again, this is in the bullish bias zone, so this is not really like, if anything, it's supposed to be considered like a bit of a bullish reset first and foremost until we get down to the zero read. But for right now, it can show that momentum is waning to the upside, obviously, especially on, what would be a lower high, which is rather concerning. And we also do see a DMI ADX signal kind of baking down here as well. But as you can see, the DMI plus is a little bit closer to the threshold. And I imagine that the next sort of signal spun upon this is probably going to be the break of the range anyways. So, naturally, these things are going to work together. And at the end of the day, I'd rather go off of just stock standard price action right here. So again, on 2-hour to 4-hour closures, I'd be looking at 55.5 to the upside versus about 54 to the downside. If you want to be super conservative, I would say 53.5, but I don't think that that's necessary in this case. You see an obvious range going on right here, and if we do start to break that, that is not very likely. That is going to quite literally confirm that bearish divergence right here. We're going to see all momentum also start to turn down. So I would start to look and prepare for a little bit of a downside move there, huh? Anyways, of course, I forgot to even follow up on this here too, but if we go back to our secondary charts, remember it was a bearish Fibonacci retracement here that I took to kind of generate this targeted region as like the region of potential bull trap. And we actually did get in there yesterday. And again, that is pretty much right in line with the 20 simple. So I do look at this as essentially met for now. And what we can now do, or what I can now say, is that above 58,000 bucks, I would actually become bullish once again. I no longer really need to wait for 60,000 bucks over here if I'm looking for the next trending trade to the upside. I do believe that if Bitcoin is going to turn down, it comes from this area right here. This is your classic area anyways, from about just under 56,000 bucks to about 58,000 bucks between the 0.5 and the 618. On a bearish retracement, of course. So with all of that in mind, again, if this were to confirm a local high, which I would even say if this closed anywhere below the 55 exponential average, which again is about 54,400 by end of day, I'd be looking at this very much at the very least as a medium-term local high, and I'd be looking for a move back down somewhere around $50,000 base and probably bounce to like 51,250 or whatever it was, and then I don't know, potentially doom long term. As everyone's been saying, or as everyone's been looking at, we do have the weekly 21 obviously in sights here too. That's currently coming in around about 45,000 bucks. Everyone knows that Bitcoin's history loves kind of play off that region. You can see the yellow 21 all the way through all of prior bullish markets. Whenever it has a positive slope and Bitcoin price action is above it, that is phenomenal basing of price action area and phenomenal long-term opportunities, we'll call them. As you can see over here in 2011 to 2013, over here in 2013 to 2014, over here in 2016 to 2018. So with all of that in mind, I would be looking for a nice bounce off that 44 to 45,000 dollar level, which is directly in line with right now. But there is one thing that I'd actually suggest on the other side too. There is actually one potentially major bullish thing that could happen. It's not going to happen this week, or extremely unlikely to happen this week. At earliest, it'd probably happen next week, and that would be this: if Bitcoin actually can confirm a local low here on the weekly, we will have massive hidden bullish divergence in a pretty, in a pretty impressive area too, coming off of this last few lows right here, and that'd be 3 drives of hidden bullish divergence on a weekly time frame, by the way, and that would imply new all-time highs. So at the end of the day, if I am going to be looking at Bitcoin breaking out to the upside, the reason why I'm happy to wait and why I'm not really interested in trading in this range right here all the way up to maybe even like 58,500-ish region is because if Bitcoin does break out the top side of this range, I'm looking at a targeted region towards about 80, somewhere between 80 and 90,000 bucks. We do have a pretty massive range right here between about 45 low and about 60 to $65,000 high. So about $15,000 from that to $20,000 from that. Yeah, that would put you somewhere around, 75 to 80,000 bucks actually. So my bad, it's a little bit off there, but overall, that's kind of where I'd be looking towards. Anyways, Bitcoin breaking down a little bit right now. And what else? Oh yeah, there was one other thing that I wanted to call out, and I want to give credit to the person who called this out to me. Who was this? This was Mr. Yard. Mr. Yard on the Mr. Yard and Dr. Danger, actually. Yeah, Dr. Danger is always really good with this stuff. This is stuff that I used to talk about a lot in the past, but I've been mostly focusing on other things as of recent times, but we can bring it back up. The hash ribbons, right? The hash ribbons, the old Mimi indicator. And where the fuck is it? Where did I put this thing? It's somewhere around here. I know it is. I'm sure of it. At least I think so. Where are you at? It's from Caprioli. It's obviously some sort of Italian person. Where is his name? I know it's like Caprioli, Charles or something rather. Oh, come on, man. Where the fuck are you? Making me look stupid. There it is. Found it. I'm blind. I'm blind as hell. I actually need to get LASIK surgery. Anyways, I make a fucking asshole of myself on the internet on a daily basis anyway. So what am I concerned with? Looking at the daily over here, I do not like the capitulation signals on this for obvious reasons, especially when it's contrary to the macro trend. Duh. Anyways, my point is that all of the blue buy signals that you have seen in this macro trend have been phenomenal areas, phenomenal fucking areas. We can backtest them right now. We can see that we did have a buy signal right here that produced this move from about 7,000 to 10 and 10 and a half. That's a 50% move. Not bad. Did eventually get sold into, obviously, but what did that do on the other side? It actually produced another buy signal right here, taking you from about about 7,500 all the way to 10,500. That's another 50% move. Not bad as well. Got some sleep in my eyes, some shit. Then we got another signal over here coming out of the $9,000 base in September, and what do you know happened after that? We had a 40% move to the upside. Not bad. Then, well, I mean, technically speaking, it's just continuation the whole way through, but let's just look at it as that first move. Then we get this next blue buy signal over here. This one actually not timing all that well, to be fair. But at the end of the day, this next higher low right here was that lovely momentous drive. And where did Bitcoin go on that first move? About 31.5%. Ultimately, before even playing out anything resembling a pullback, about 135%. Not bad. Anyways, as you can see, we are getting the setup once again. Obviously, it has to start with green, and then it moves its way over, and then I wouldn't say soon enough, but probably within the next week or maximum 2 weeks, very likely we do print another buy signal, and I would be looking at that as a very likely higher low within the macro scale, looking at the weekly and higher, and probably, potentially base a long-term position off that. We can test this a few more times in case you happen to give a fuck back on over here from about January 2019. Not getting the ultimate low, of course, but it is giving the buys for the upside from about 4,000 to 14,000 bucks. And can we go back further than that? Yep, you can see over here, very, very nice. Over here, very nice as well. So, of course, you can find this indicator for yourself. It is freely available on TradingView. Just type in Bitcoin hash ribbons, actually. Anyways, whoa, hey, who the fuck was that? Welcome, sir. Good to meet you. I can't see your name, but I can feel you right now in my plums. Anyways, let's see. We're 23 minutes into this bitch. Let's go over traditional marks really, really quickly. Oh, there will very unlikely be a live stream today. I'm actually going to build Elsa a table, which is my other hobby. I actually do really enjoy building shit. It's there's something like really, well, one, calming, and then two, just satisfying about making something that you can then use. So we're going to make her a standing desk, and that is going to be the main thing of the day. Anyways, so very unlikely a live stream later. Let's go check out NASDAQ futures. Oh, what do you fucking know? Did we bounce off the 55 as we spoke about yesterday? Yes, we did. Hey, not bad. I'm still looking at new all-time highs on this one this week, very likely, and I'm still sticking with my $14,250 target as the next sort of short-term, or I'd say more like medium-term, because it is a little bit above there, and then long-term still looking at $15,000. I'm still bullish on this. I'm not bearish in any way, shape, or form on traditional markets as they are. This is well, for all I care about, strength. Daily RSI, again, you're getting that same signature where you are consolidating right around the bullish control zone. I like that, sir. I like that a lot. Let's see what SPY futures are doing. They're a little bit stronger, or at least they have been a little bit stronger. And what do you fucking know? Already in there, baby. Already in there. And daily TSI crossing up again. I still stick with my, I think it was 42. What was it? 42 and some odd change. Where are you? 42. No, we've already hit this one, and we did sell off a little bit from it. Okay, so I think the pullback is complete. Yep, we did see a pullback right there. Boom. Next sort of targeted region that I'll be looking towards about 40, almost 4,300. Jesus Christ, man. Powerful SPY. Anyways, I think I'm going to stop the video right there. I do want to make a concerted effort to make these a little bit shorter, especially today when I got actually a lot of things to do. So with that in mind, I'd keep a keen eye on this price action right here. Looks like Bitcoin might even break it down relatively soon. We got another 3 hours, 13 minutes on this closure. For the 4 hour, buy hourly is going to be significantly faster with another hour and 15 minutes or 13 minutes left to go. Now, technically speaking, because it is a lower term time frame, I do like to err on the side of caution, and technically speaking, the low side of your range would be this area right here, lining up with the lows of your middle of April range before that breakdown. But ultimately, I mean, this is not looking too hot right there in its current posturing. Let's just quickly go over this. Yeah, 12 hour doesn't looks pretty fucking dastardly there too. So you know what? I think that we are starting to see the first etchings of this, and this is actually starting to shape up to be somewhat concerning, in fact, especially if you take out last 2-day low, which is not so far away now, about 53,290 and a half. Yeah, this is starting to look a little bit more nasty here. Very close right now. Let's see what the hourly looks like as well. Yeah, hourly is kind of curling down and not looking too hot. But again, I would like to see confirmations. Like I said, I don't really have any vested interest in this right now because I'm not trading this range anyways. But hey, for those of you who are out there trading this, well, time to pay attention, I suppose, as the short and medium term time frames are looking for resolution probably today. Probably today, at the very least tomorrow, I'd imagine. And by the way, we should do just a quick perusal of the monthly and see how it's shaping up right now. And whoopsies, don't need that. Let's go right on over here. Yeah, monthly is starting to look a lot more like a doji dildo right here. So fair enough. Again, we still have another day and a half, but if things do remain somewhat, anywhere below about $50,000, we will have that doji. So it will be a signal of indecision for the first time in quite some time. And well, that can drive some more long-term price action. So with all of that in mind, I still do look at this as, more or less likely to range on the macro timeframes, sideways and down, which is fine. And I still think that Bitcoin has new all-time highs probably even this year. I wouldn't be surprised to see Bitcoin maybe even hit 6 digits this year. Still very much within the cards, but, can we take a little bit of a cool off after having 6 months straight to the fucking north side? I think that's reasonable, actually. So I'll leave you with that. I want to wish you well once again. Take care, and hopefully see you soon.